Hey, welcome to our explainer. You see it pretty much everywhere, on top of churches, hanging from necklaces, maybe even on a tattoo. The cross. It's got to be one of the most recognized symbols on the planet. But what if it's meant to be more than just a symbol? What if it's supposed to be a source of actual power in our lives? Let's dig into that.
So, that's the big question we're tackling, isn't it? When you see a cross, do you just see a piece of history, an ancient story? Or do you see something that has the potential to radically change your life, right here, right now? We're going to explore exactly what that something might be. Now, this whole idea is really anchored in this powerful verse from the Apostle Paul. He wrote that for believers, the message of the cross isn't just a nice story, it is the very power of God. Wow, that's a pretty bold claim. How can a message, just words, be an active, living power? Let's find out. Well, funny enough, to understand the true power of the message, we first have to look at what happens when that message gets twisted. We're told there's a really serious warning about this in the book of Galatians, and believe me, it has some very real consequences.
You can just feel the urgency in Paul's words here, can't you? He's not just a little surprised, he's astonished. He's warning the people of Galatia that they're basically trading the real deal for a cheap knockoff. And to him, this isn't some minor disagreement. It's like they're walking away from the very thing that was supposed to save them.
And this isn't just about getting some theological details wrong. When this core message gets warped, when people start adding extra rules or trying to control everything, the results can be absolutely devastating. We're talking about cult-like dynamics, families being ripped apart. It completely replaces God's grace with human control, and that can lead to some incredible harm. Okay, so if twisting the message is the danger, what's the answer? Well, it's not about learning more rules or facts. It's about a total shift in perspective. It's about moving the message of the cross from being just an idea in your head to a reality you actually feel in your heart. This slide lays out the difference perfectly. On one side, you've got the textbook knowledge. A historical event happened 2,000 years ago for all humanity. Okay, that's information. But on the other side, you have that personal connection. Jesus died for me, for my sins. And the argument is that it's in this personal, almost selfish moment of acceptance that information actually becomes transformation. And right here, this is the engine that drives that whole transformation. It's not about what we do. It's not about following a checklist of rules perfectly. It's about what we believe. This idea of being made right with God through faith, not by our own efforts, is absolutely central to everything that comes next. So this leads us to a really powerful concept. It's called the divine exchange. This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of how the cross is actually supposed to have practical, day-to-day power in our lives. So what in the world is the divine exchange? Well, think of it like a grand trade. The whole idea is that on the cross, a massive transaction took place. Jesus took on all the negative stuff of our human experience, the failure, the shame, the brokenness, and in return, he gives us all the positive aspects of his divine nature. Let's break down how that actually works. This exchange is broken down into three pretty distinct, life-altering steps. A curse is traded for a blessing, poverty gets traded for wealth, and shame gets traded for healing. Let's take a quick look at each one. First up, curse for blessing. Now, the idea here from Galatians is pretty radical, you got to admit. It claims that Jesus literally took on the curse of our collective brokenness. And by doing that, he essentially canceled it out, which frees up believers to receive what's known as the blessing of Abraham instead. It is a total 180-degree reversal. The second exchange is poverty for wealth. Now, this is really important. This isn't talking about getting rich in a material sense. The idea is that Jesus experienced this ultimate spiritual emptiness so that believers could be filled up, not to hoard it for themselves, but so they could become a source of generosity and blessing for everyone around them. It's about becoming a channel for good. In the third exchange, this one tackles shame and healing. See, in the ancient world, crucifixion was the most humiliating, shameful death imaginable. So the belief is that by willingly going through that ultimate shame, Jesus absorbed the shame of all our failures, healing that deep separation between us and God, and making that relationship whole again. So when you put all of this together, you've got the warning against twisting the message, the need for personal faith, and this incredible divine exchange. It leads to a radically new way of looking at your life. It completely flips what you value and where you find your self-worth. This declaration from Paul just sums it all up, doesn't it?
After everything he's been through, he says the only thing he can truly be proud of, the only thing he can boast in, isn't his own resume or his own goodness, it's what was done for him on the cross. That becomes the absolute center of his confidence and his identity.
So what does that look like on a Tuesday afternoon? It's basically an invitation to stop carrying all your burdens by yourself, the struggles, the failures, the shame. According to this message, they've already been picked up and carried for you. The real challenge is to consciously choose to lay them down, to trust that the heavy lifting is already done.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This whole message transforms the cross from some distant, historical symbol into a very present, active source of power. So the final question isn't for me, it's for you. Looking at your own life right now, what burden is this message inviting you to leave at the cross?